I don't know about where you are, but here in Oklahoma, we've reached that point in the summer that's like too hot for humans. For the last month or so, I've mostly avoided turning on my ovens, but now it's getting to the point where I like don't even want to fire up the stove very much to cook. So today I'm gonna prep 5 dinners for my family all at once that go straight from the freezer to the crock pot. Because for my husband and me and our 3 teenagers, summer comes with its own special kind of busyness and chaos. And the last thing I want to do at the end of a summer day is stand over a hot stove and cook when it's 104 degrees outside. So if you find yourself in a similar situation and you are looking for some inspiration, I'm going to show you exactly how I am prepping these 5 crock pot freezer meals in under an hour, so you can do it too. First up, I'm prepping a Mexican shredded beef barbacoa. This recipe is coming from momsdinner.net. I'll be sure to leave it linked in the description box below. I am using a chuck roast that's just a little bit less than 2 pounds. I think the original recipe calls for one that's closer to 3, but I'm okay with that. 2 pounds is a really good size for my family of 5. And I took my chuck roast out of the package and I chopped it into 3 large chunks. With the exception of the onions, the garlic, and the bay leaves, I took all of the seasonings that it calls for, the lime juice, the vinegar, the oil, and put it into my blender cup. Instead of using an entire 15-ounce can of beef broth, I made sort of a concentrate using about 2 tablespoons of beef broth paste or bouillon and about half a cup of water in my marinade. Then I just took the beef chunks and put it in the bag with the onions and the garlic and the bay leaves, and I poured the marinade over the top. I sealed the bag up, making sure to carefully remove as much air as possible and also being sure that the bag is sealed, because this is one of those that'll make a big mess if you don't have a really good freezer bag that seals well. And that's it for this one. Into the freezer it goes. When I'm ready to cook it, I just need to take it out of the freezer and put the contents of the bag into my slow cooker. I need to add about 1 to 2 cups of water depending on the size of the roast. I'll probably be closer to 1 cup since I'm using a smaller roast. Cook it on high for 4 to 5 hours, low for 6 to 7 until it's ready to shred up. If I want to take it a step further, I could remove the beef after it's cooked from the crock pot and put it onto a foil lined sheet pan and stick it in the oven to kind of crisp it up a little bit. But since it's summer and I'm trying not to use my ovens if I can, we'll probably just use it to make tacos or rice bowls and serve it with some tortillas, some cheese, some fresh veggies like tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, maybe a little sour cream or some dressing of some type. Serve it alongside a nice piece of watermelon and delicious summer meal ready to go with hardly any fuss. Next up is a favorite of ours around here in the summertime, jalapeno chicken popper sliders. And I've kind of combined what I like about a few different recipes over the years. I chop up 1 to 2 jalapenos depending on the size. You could use more or less depending on how much your family likes. I'm also using some fully cooked bacon. I don't want to have to cook any bacon. It's kind of a hassle, especially in the summer. I am chopping up half of it to actually put in with the chicken so that it can be with the chicken while it cooks. And then I'm setting the other half aside because it's nice to just have some that you can like toss in the microwave and put on top of the sandwiches when they're done. So into my freezer bag, I am putting about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast, 1 packet of ranch seasoning plus my diced up jalapeno and bacon. I'm using about 3/4 cup of chicken broth that I just made from bouillon and water. And I'm also gonna go ahead and add my cream cheese to my freezer bag. You could wait and add this at the time that you're cooking it, but I'm gonna give it a go and see how it works. I went ahead and diced it up to put in the freezer bag. On cooking day, all I need to do is take that out of the freezer, empty the contents of the bag into the slow cooker, and let it cook on high for 3 to 4 hours, low for 5 to 6 until it's done, and then the chicken is ready to shred up. Now I'm gonna take this one a step further and actually freeze the other items that I used to complete this meal. A package of Hawaiian rolls and some shredded cheese, and then the rest of my fully cooked bacon. I'm putting that in a separate bag to set alongside the jalapeno chicken popper chicken in the freezer, along with the instructions for for the cooking day. So I'll have everything that I need to make those up when I'm ready. I was going to include a crock pot shrimp scampi in this meal prep. It's a recipe I've made on this channel before, and I will leave it linked in the description box below along with the video where I made it. I thought that that could possibly make a really good freezer to crock pot meal prep, so you can check it out and see what you think. I just decided to go in a different direction because I'm not a big fan of shrimp. Although the rest of my family really likes it, I was just kind of craving this other meal that everybody likes and that is sort of a tried and true recipe for us. It's a creamy ranch chicken pasta in the crock pot. I'll leave the recipe that originally inspired me linked in the description box, and I have made this so many times over the years, and it's really very easy. All that is going in my freezer bag is chicken breast, about 1.5 pounds. I'm gonna throw in some minced garlic, 1 packet of ranch seasoning, and about 1/2 cup of broth concentrate that I have made using a tablespoon of chicken bouillon or chicken broth base and about 1/2 cup of water. I'm also adding 1 block of cream cheese that I've diced up to my freezer bag. Again, you can go ahead and do that on the cooking day. If you're not comfortable putting it in the freezer, I'm gonna try it out and see how it works. When I'm ready to cook that, I'm just gonna take it out of the freezer, empty the contents of the bag into my slow cooker. I'm gonna add about 3.5 to 4 cups of water. Then I'm gonna let it cook, until the chicken's done. That's 3 to 4 hours on high, 5 to 6 on low, usually for me in my crock pot. With this recipe, I usually cook the pasta right in the crock pot. So after the chicken is done cooking and it's shredded up, I take about 12 ounces of pasta. I usually use spaghetti noodles, and I just put it right into the crock pot, making sure that it's submerged in the liquid that's in there. Pop the lid back on, turn it up to high for 20 to 30 minutes until that spaghetti is completely cooked, and just give it a toss with everything in the crock pot. I can add some Parmesan or mozzarella or shredded cheese or not. We've had it both ways. If you don't want to take the risk of cooking the pasta in the crock pot, you could just reduce the amount of liquid in the cooking of the chicken, the creamy chicken, and then cook the pasta separately on the stove, drain it, and then add it to the crock pot later. That's another way that you can do it. I'm just trying to keep from firing up my stove if I can help it, and usually I can make this method work for us. Hello there, morning Mindy, popping in here to thank today's sponsor, Trade Coffee. The cool thing about Trade is they're not trying to sell you their coffee, they're trying to connect you with good coffee from all over the country. I have had a Trade subscription for over 1.5 years now, and I've been able to try a lot of different coffees. A lot of different coffees, like a lot. Trade has spent the last decade building relationships with dozens of top roasters around the country, so they have curated a list of hundreds of different coffees that they can offer their subscribers, so there's really something for everybody. And they take the time to get to know the kind of coffee that you like to drink, whether you're looking for whole bean or coffee that's already ground, whether you like light roast or dark roast. And they take into consideration even how you brew your coffee. I used a pour over method this morning, but they have coffees that they can offer for, regular drip machines and even cold brew. So when you sign up for a Trade account and you take their little quiz to determine your coffee taste, they will tailor fit their suggestions for you, and then they will ship a freshly roasted package of coffee directly to your doorstep at the interval of your choosing. But you can also adjust your subscription. You can go into your account and you can change the frequency of your deliveries. We have skipped weeks before, and sometimes we've actually moved up deliveries and requested coffee to come more frequently when we are expecting company. I have adjusted the different coffees that they're sending me and maybe moved up in their queue some that I'd like to try, or even requested again some we've already tried and really loved. You can even cancel your subscription if you like, and they also have a 100% satisfaction guarantee on your first bag of coffee. If you don't love it, they'll send you another one free of charge. Many of the roasters that Trade works with are small businesses, and I love that I get an opportunity to try coffees from all over the country that I might not otherwise get to try. If you're ready to give Trade a try, right now they're offering 30% off new coffee subscriptions at drinktrade.com/cmindymom. That's drinktrade.com/cmindymom, or just follow the link in the description box below for up to 30% off new coffee subscriptions. Drinktrade.com/cmindymom, and thank you again to Trade Coffee for being a a longtime supporter of my channel, for sponsoring this video and, quite frankly, this summer morning. I'm also throwing together a smoked sausage cheesy pasta. Into my freezer bag, I am putting 1 smoked sausage link, and I'm gonna chop that up. About 1/4 of a diced onion, and then a few teaspoons of minced garlic, 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes, and a pinch of red pepper flake. I'm also gonna make another stock concentrate with about a tablespoon of chicken bouillon base and 1/2 cup of water, and put that in the bag as well. You could add some salt and pepper, some other seasonings. I go pretty light on the seasonings with this one because the smoked sausage is already pretty heavily seasoned, so it's gonna lend some flavor to the dish. There are a couple of different ways that I can cook this up. I can take the bag out of the freezer and empty the contents into the slow cooker, and since there's no raw meat in this, the smoked sausage is already cooked, I'm really just wanting to bring it up to temperature and let it simmer together for flavor. So I can just add 1/2 cup of water, let it simmer on high for 2 to 3 hours, and then cook up some pasta on the stove, add it to my crock pot once it's finished cooking and drained, and then stir in 2 cups of shredded cheese. What I usually do is take it out of the freezer and put the contents of the bag into the slow cooker along with about 4 cups of water. I let it cook on high for 2 to 3 hours, and then I add a pound of shortcut pasta like spirals or penne directly to the crock pot. Cover it and let it cook on high for another 20 to 30 minutes until the pasta is done. And then I'll stir in the cheese and let it melt just right before we're ready to serve it. I really wanted to have some kind of like Greek or Mediterranean style chicken or beef that I could cook in the crock pot and then use to make like rice bowls, or maybe use to make like pitas. So I'm gonna use chicken thighs, about 2 to 3 pounds. I have a recipe here. It is from Season and Time. I'll leave that linked in the description box below. But to my chicken thighs in the bag, I'm just gonna add the seasonings, which include dill, oregano, basil, some garlic and onion, a little bit of olive oil, and then the juice of 1 lemon, plus salt and pepper to taste. Super easy, just popping it in the freezer. And then all I have to do on cooking day is take it out, put it into the slow cooker, and let it cook until it's done. Again, for me, that's 3 to 4 hours on high, 5 to 6 on low. I just want the chicken to be tender and ready to shred up. I did pick up some naan at the grocery store when I was purchasing the ingredients for these freezer meals. So I'm actually gonna put that in the freezer along with this Greek chicken, so I know that at least I have those. And then all I have to do is maybe chop up a cucumber and some tomatoes, maybe pick up a little package of tzatziki at the grocery store, and we'll be ready to have some chicken gyros, some chicken and rice bowls. Thanks so much to Trade Coffee for sponsoring today's video. You can check them out in the description box below. YouTube thinks you might want to watch one of these videos next. If so, I'll see you there.